Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Foxworth Theory. And I am your host, Eugenia Foxworth. And thank you for joining us today. We discuss entertainment, business, fashion, and the arts with the movers and the shakers from around the world. And we allow them to tell their stories. Our guest this week is Simone Gordon.
A few years ago, my next guest made a bold and very brave decision to escape an abusive relationship. She had nothing to her name and was raising a nonverbal child with autism all on her own. When she couldn't find help from nonprofits, she turned to social media. Women from all over stepped up to help her get on her feet. Now she's paying it forward in such a big way that she's become known as the Black Fairy Godmother. To me, she's also a really rad human.
I am Simone Gordon. I was raised in East Orange, New Jersey, by two amazing parents who have been together for 37 years. My parents believed in education, and they always wanted something that would hold their children forever, and that's stability, respect, and responsibility. That's where I come from, and that's what I'm trying to give the world, is hope, love, and stability. I went to East Orange Campus High School and graduated in 2004. During the time that I graduated, I knew that I had to do something, especially to make my community proud, make my family, more important, proud. I went ahead and I enrolled into Essex County College, where I began to study psychology. But I knew a psychologist is something that I didn't want to be. I wanted to do more. I wanted to be more into the public. So I believe public health and going into nursing was the way to go. And that's where I am today, graduating shortly as a nursing student, studying nursing and public health.
Welcome, Simone Gordon, founder and CEO of the Black Fairy Godmother Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit created to help marginalized families and communities across the country. Simone and the foundation use the power of networking, social media, and influence to connect families in need with people that can help. The Black Fairy Godmother Foundation has a variety of programs to meet the needs of those who need assistance. Their goal is help people have a place of stability and equip them with the proper tools and support to sustain them for the future. Simone Gordon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Now, I would like to ask you a few questions. What inspired you to launch the Black Fairy Godmother Foundation? I know you spoke about it, and so did I, but you speak your words.
I needed emergency assistance for my son who had autism spectrum disorder, and I continuously had doors just shut on me. Many people, when I pick up the phone, it was always a hang up when trying to get assistance. So I went on social media. I asked everyone, where can I go get assistance for my son? And I joined a Facebook group that helped marginalized families in need. And there were strangers that were in the group who decided to be advocates for certain women. So I had 4 women to advocate for me and my son. One advocated to a hospital to make sure he gets the proper medical assistance. One advocated putting me back into community college. Another one wrote a letter to a chairperson at another hospital. And the last one went ahead and gathered up some friends who did a year worth of supplies for Depends. So with all the blessings I was getting, I couldn't be stingy about the group that I was in. So I decided to launch a Facebook group myself to help even more marginalized women like myself get the assistance that they need.
Okay, that's very inspiring. Very. Now, you're attending college full time,
Yes.
running a nonprofit organization while raising your son Jarvis, who has
Yeah.
autism. Share with us the challenges.
The challenges is basically not always getting enough sleep, but I have to make sure the families who are coming to us, we're trying to make sure that that ratio and that need is met. At times, I have a 12 volunteer staff, and we do have volunteers also across the U.S. But I have to make sure that our foundation is making sure that families' emergency assistance is being met. So juggling social media, juggling phone calls, juggling nursing school, studying chemistry and biology, and after school taking care of my son. I probably approximately get 2 hours of sleep per day. But that's the beauty of it. I'm feeling a void in my heart of seeing a family eat, having a place to stay, or being with loved ones, being safe. So at the end of the day, when I go to sleep, I just know for a fact that my job is done for the night.
And you're probably still dreaming when you go to bed, oh my goodness, I've got to do this, because that is what you do.
Yes.
How did you get the name the Black Fairy Godmother?
It's silly. I went back to school. There was a follower who helped me get back into school. And I was in math class and I was getting a lot of pings on my phone. And my professor was upset because I didn't turn off my phone. And he asked me to silently turn off my phone. But I just happened to look, and there was so many people tagging me on Facebook that a mom in Maryland who was disabled had a child with a heart condition, and they were being evicted by noon. They had to dig up $1,000 or the sheriff will lock them out. So I went on my personal Facebook page and I raised $1,000 in 30 minutes. And people from all over social media start chanting, she's like the fairy in the middle of the night. And then people go, we're doing hashtags Black Girl Magic. And then the woman that we helped, Teresa, said, no, she's a Black Fairy Godmother. And the name just stuck from there.
And you are. What a beautiful name to get. And for you to have your challenges, your work, and everything else, and to reach out in the middle of class, that was very brave.
Yes.
To do this. Blessings. Tell us the various programs the organization offers.
Yes, we have our first program that is called the Angel Food Assistance Fund. And with the Angel Food Assistance Fund, it has different various where we can send out fresh food, medical supplies, and also toiletries using Instacart or Walmart. And everyone said, well, how come you're using Instacart and Walmart? Because every human being deserves fresh food and brand new necessities. So that's the reason why we partner with the two, and we have it delivered straight through the family's door with no questions asked. Any food that they need is there, and we get it done in less than 2 hours. That is our first program. Our second program is the Fairy Dust Scholarship Program. Many women who are over the age of 21 think that their life is over due to the fact that they have experienced trauma and they want to go back to school. They want to be a businesswoman. They want to get a trade. So that fund, which we join forces with Cherry Birch, is giving them the opportunity to dream and go back to school or to obtain a trade of their choice. And we always do it the month of May because that is Mother's Day, to give them that gift to go on and succeed. The next program we have is the domestic violence program. There's many men and women who are going through domestic violence, especially during the pandemic. So we have various donors who donate specifically through that fund, where we're able to get flights, we're able to get trains, we're able to get emergency Ubers. We place them in hotels and Airbnbs, and it depends on the severity of the situation, but we get them out of that situation, place them in there, and then the next step would be we get them the apartment. We do an Amazon list to furnish the apartment as well, so that the mom or the individual that is suffering will have a brand new life, just a brand new beginning and starting fresh. So those are the programs that we have.
I don't know if you could handle more, but I think that you probably are looking at another one now.
Yes.
See, I was only saying it, but I
Yes.
know they say if your plate is full, who do you give it to? You are an angel. You are. I believe in angels.
Thank you.
And you have helped many in need, as you just said, especially women in abusive situations and the LGBTQ community. What inspired you to do so?
What inspired me to do so with the LGBTQ community is that there was a friend years ago that I was working along with doing the same work I'm doing now. And there was a lot of homeless teenagers in New York City who were always sleeping on the street. And she asked me, every year you have people donate to certain charities. What about donating to a shelter in New York that specializes in LGBT? And when I went to a shelter called New Alternatives back in 2019, there were so many that were left without families and left without anything. So I raised $4,000 on my Instagram platform, and we donated it to that shelter, and we were able to have 2 individuals move into an apartment of their own. And domestic violence is dear and near to my heart. Many people, when they hear the word domestic violence, they hear physical abuse. There's emotional abuse, there's financial abuse, and people take advantage of that. I was a victim of emotional abuse, and I have a mom and dad who was strong enough to get me out of that situation and say, it will be okay that you raise your son on your own. And I got out of it, went back to school and created this foundation and helped thousands and thousands of women. And I'm able to advocate and do vision boards with them and say, you can too, especially the things that I went through. So all of the things that I went through and the experience, that's what inspired me to do more, because we need more people to help. You don't always have to have money to help. You can just take 5 minutes out of your day to talk to someone and you'll be able to change their life.
And that is something that I personally have always said. And I believe that you give, you don't give to get. Okay? What I'd like to do now is ask you one quick question. Since the rise of the COVID pandemic almost 2 years ago, the organization went into overdrive, helping families across the country more than when you initially started. What assistance did you offer and how many were helped as a result?
Before the pandemic started, we were just getting approximately 10 to 20 applicants a day. And we were just offering just basic emergency assistance, including food, like if someone needs a light bill paid, or someone is having car trouble, or a mom needs to get to work, those type of emergencies, basic emergencies. But when the pandemic hit, we had to stop everything, pray, and be creative and join forces with our followers and ask them to come on board to help us tackle all the needs that need to be met, because on
Hi,
March 20th
this is Eugenia
of 2020,
Foxworth.
everything
Thank you
shut
so
down.
much
So
for
it was a new
tuning
ball
into the
game for us.
Foxworth
And we
Theory.
began
We
to
are
receive hundreds
celebrating
and
going
hundreds
into our
of
third
applications
season.
for
Can you
emergency
believe that?
assistance,
We are
especially
opening
food
our
and
doors to
formula.
sponsorships for the Foxworth Theory.
Wow.
For more information,
That
go
is
to
amazing. Only a fairy could do
thefoxworththeory.com
it.
or
Only
email
a
us
fairy
at
godmother could do it. Now, let's take a break,
thefoxworththeory.com. Thank
and we will be
you.
back with our guest, Simone Gordon of the Black Fairy Godmother Foundation on the Foxworth Theory.
Thank you for joining us on the Foxworth Theory. Be sure to tune in on Thursday at 9 p.m. on the Foxworth Theory Network.